I wanted to talk to you about the first time we were on the ice, and I wanted to talk to you too about the videos that we did not have on our channel. We had a little dry spell there. We had been very good about being consistent. I started having some trouble with my knees. Turned out I had a torn meniscus. I actually had torn meniscus on both, but the right knee was really causing me trouble. And I went in, I talked to a guy, set up a surgery. With the backlog of surgeries, I wasn't able to get in for a month and a half. I'm a little over 4 weeks out from having both knees scoped, having the meniscus fixed on both of them. Getting around good, still have some limitations. It was difficult for me to get out and fish when they were really bothering me, and I still work a regular job. When I would work, I'm on my feet for 8-9 hours a day. When I got home and had a day off, I pretty well rested my legs so that I could be ready to go again the next time I had to work. It's not a good reason, but it's a reason. It's our reason. And we missed a few videos there. I apologize, but we're back going on ice now. I want to talk about the first time that I got out on the ice. I went with Zach. We traveled to a lake that was a little bit north, an hour and a half or so north of where I live. We weren't sure how much ice we'd have because it was very early for us. Actually past the normal time we'd have ice, but ice was late this year. So we didn't know what we were going to have. We didn't take a hut. It was 15 to 17 degrees that day, natural temp, and we had 20-mile-an-hour wind. It wasn't super comfortable. And we didn't fish a long time. We caught a lot of fish, nothing giant at all. We didn't film the whole thing because we were just first out there trying to figure everything out. Zach has been a number of times on the ice. He and I went one more time the following week, and he's out today. So we're a little over 2 weeks into the ice season here where I'm at. I've got 7 inches underneath me right now. We fished on 5 the day that we fished 2 weeks ago. Zach was pretty excited about finding good ice and the little victory dances he is prone to do. A week ago, he and I fished, we went about an hour north and we fished on 10 inches of real good ice. But we had 350-degree days. Everybody said, oh, the ice is going to be gone. It's not going to be gone. It's not as good ice as we had. This is a little bit crystally and not great, but it's 7 inches and hard, and I tested on my way out because I didn't want to fall through. I'll tell you about the day that Zach and I had the first day. We went out on a new lake that neither of us have fished. We had some ideas based on lake maps and satellite photos where some weeds would be and where we thought maybe we would try to start. What we found was that the weeds were down. They weren't really substantial where we were at. The area of the lake that we were looking at had more depth than we thought it would. So we punched a lot of holes looking around. We found some wood structure, fished it. Didn't have any success, but I know this time of year, that early ice time of the year, the panfish especially tend to move into the basins of the lake. Now, basin of the lake is a relative term. On a big lake, you know, the deep basin could be super deep, and I'm not talking about, I got a fish under my hut. I got a fish underneath me right now on my Vexilar. I should have a rod down. Basin is a relative term. And what we did was we had a bay that looked on the map like it should hold panfish in the summer, and it had a lot of food source, it looked like, because of submerged weeds. Usually there's scuds and Daphnia in there, and you know that that's what they like to eat. So we went to a small basin in that area. Instead of going down into the deep basin of the lake in 25-30 foot of water, we moved into the basin of that area, which was like 13 to 15. And when we did that, a school of suspended fish we thought might be crappie. So we used a live scope, moved over to where we had seen that suspended school in the basin, drilled over them, caught a couple bluegill immediately, and set up some holes in that area. What we found was fish, as they do this time of year in the basin, they move in, they move out. They move, you know, all around the basin. If we were going to be fishing for a long time that day, especially when we're fishing without a hut, we'd have drilled a bunch of sets of holes and bounced around between them when the fish were. As it was very cold. We had it set up. We were back to the wind so that we were as comfortable as you could be. We had fish in. We caught 2 or 3. Then they'd move out. They'd move back in, 2 or 3. move back out. Like I said, we ended up catching a lot of fish. We had a lot of groups of fish through. Not particularly big fish. We did catch crappie, we did catch bluegill, but we had a nice time for a first time out, and I feel it was a success training. So as I mentioned, it was 20-mile-an-hour wind that day, and the audio is pooched. It's no good. But I can show you the video and explain to you what happened. Basically, we found this cove. We found the basin inside the cove, which is an isolated area of open water. And panfish tend to like to roam areas of open water, the basins, and an isolated area of open water with food producing area around it can be better than the main basin of the lake. Now, had I spent more time, we probably would have experimented into maybe a little deeper water. When we fished the following week, we fished a number of areas, did a lot of walking, covered a lot of ground, drilled a lot of holes. But essentially, we bounced around in the basin. We fished some shallow water areas first, did catch fish. They were smaller fish. We moved into the basin. We still caught fish. They were predominantly small fish. We ended up bouncing around a lot, but we found an area, like a 13-ish foot area in between a bay basin and the main basin, and we definitely had some success in that location. General average size, bigger fish, a nice crappie, several nice bluegill, and a lot of little bluegill and crappie. We did catch caught 4 species. We did put a couple largemouth on the ice. We put 2 walleyes through the hole, fish in that basin area adjacent to the main basin. Not in a creek channel, not on a break line, but in an area, a transition area where fish move. We had schools in, we had schools out. Sometimes a little later, when the fish are not moving around so much in the winter, they get on those break lines. Not that they won't use some break lines right now, but basin areas are where we have our best success with pan fishing. And so I just wanted to kind of explain that, to tell you, hey, we're making videos, we are on the ice, I can get around, walk, no crutches, no cane, not fully recovered, but good enough to get out here and hopefully catch some fish for you and explain how we're doing it, hopefully in an entertaining way. We'll see you next week.